Well, more now on that Europe speech, and one of Britain's leading businessmen has told this programme that uncertainty is the last thing we need. Sir Martin Sorrell, who's at the World Economic Forum in Davos, was speaking to our economics editor Faisal Islam after David Cameron's big pronouncement. The PM is due there tomorrow, so let's see what kind of reaction he might face. Faisal, what are you gauging from there?
Kathy, in or out, it's dominating discussions here in Davos. And for those people that believe that there's maybe a little bit of double talk, a bit of a forked tongue being deployed by the Prime Minister, different messages for different people, well, there's some evidence for that here in Davos amongst world leaders, European leaders and British business leaders. Because on the one hand, yes, people are a little bit relaxed because they simply don't believe that Britain is going to leave. In the words of the Mayor of London, who I've just spoken to, there's a vanishingly small chance. However, there is dismay and concern about the extra uncertainty injected into the economy and into investment in the British economy at this delicate time.
It's the great hope of UKIP and some in the Prime Minister's own party, even his own cabinet. The Swiss model. Wealthy, a centre of attention for the world's powerful, and out of the European Union that surrounds it. But among these chauffeured classes of financiers and global leaders meeting here at Davos, some scepticism about Britain's direction of travel.
It was not in a speech of a Prime Minister, because what he expressed is not shared by his coalition partner. And to conclude, somebody who says to all of us, I announce a referendum for 2017 after the election of 2015. He's not looking to the referendum. He's looking to the election.
Are you taking very seriously the idea that Britain could be leaving the European Union?
Yes, I take it very serious, and I would be afraid.
Mr Cameron also on a slippery path to persuading Britain's business leaders who he meets here tomorrow. They were just about to celebrate the return of cautious global economic optimism. Instead, another cold front from uncertainty about British EU exit.
At the very best, you have to say it's neutral. At the worst, it's negative. The outcome from the referendum decision and the speech this morning cannot, in my view, be positive for investment, the likelihood of investment. You know, if you're as somebody has said, if you're a South Korean automobile manufacturer, where are you going to make your investment?
There was praise for the pro-EU tone of the speech, but businesses now face a new half-decade challenge.
The issue, of course, is a referendum 5 years away, and I think we recognise that that means there is a period of uncertainty which we are going to have to manage. And for investors, that is always a challenge.
World leaders past and present have been arriving all day, and from Britain's most Europhile ex-leader, a suggestion that Mr Cameron has overplayed his hand.
He's absolutely right in saying we should be arguing for reform, but to say if we don't get these reforms, we're leaving, you know, and by the way, we'll have a referendum, but it's not for 4 or 5 years, the risk is that you put us in a situation where we can't now answer the question, will Britain remain in the European Union or not, and where, you know, we're playing a pretty dangerous game with the rest of Europe in that negotiation.
David Cameron.
Even in Swedish, Mr Cameron's decision is the story. He consulted his closest ally, Sweden's Prime Minister, in writing the speech, and he told us he welcomed it as a clear effort for Britain to stay in.
I believe this is an initiative that might at the end preserve UK inside the European Union, and that is a vital interest for Europe, a vital interest for Sweden.
So even from Mr Cameron's closest ally, an indication that everything really depends on the substance of this historic renegotiation.
So even Mr Cameron's key EU ally from Sweden expressing some concern about exactly what it is that's going to be renegotiated. Other allies looking like they're falling away, like the Czech president who's coming up for an election and will be replaced by a kind of pro-German, pro-EU guy. Even the Dutch want a different type of renegotiation. Who better to talk to about all of this than a rather excitable Mayor of London, Boris Johnson, who I've just been talking to?
I think it's a very good speech and exactly the right message. British people haven't had a vote on this since 1975, and a very good chance to settle the matter and get a very good renegotiation, a good deal for the country, which is, I'm sure, what we're going to get.
You must be hearing the concern from British business leaders that this has injected unnecessary uncertainty at a time when the economy least needs it.
Do you know, I just met a foreign minister from another European country that I won't mention by name, who said how impressed they were by the speech, and it was exactly the right message. There are a lot of other countries around Europe that want to see reform, that want to see improvements, the lopping away of some of the brambles that have grown up around the European project, and I think it's going to be much simpler than people expect to get a better deal and then to put that to the people.
The Mayor went on to say that you needed to put on the table the idea that, credibly, that Britain might well leave the EU. That's a key part of the negotiation. But he thought that the chances of us actually leaving were vanishingly small. I put to him the notion that what is he going to say to those Asian car manufacturers that are fearful of investing in a car factory in the likes of Britain because they don't know if we're going to be in the EU in 2018. And he said they won't mind, we'll be in some free trade area with Western Europe anyway. So there's big decisions to be made here. There's futurology going on here, where they're talking about a wider Europe, maybe with Turkey, a sort of looser Europe, where Britain has a kind of second division relationship and a closer Euro group in the middle. There's a lot to sort out here. The key details are, what is that negotiation? Mr. Cameron faces business leaders tomorrow, and we'll be reporting on that from Davos for you tomorrow. Kathy.